we wanted to tell you about the planets. Can we tell you a bit about the planets?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, it's very interesting because part of what goes on is you guys talk about how Elohim created the solar system in order to facilitate spiritual growth, blah, 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 free will, yeah, that's all good and great and wonderful. But we never ever talk about the other planets in your solar system. We never talk about them. No, we shouldn't say never, but pretty much almost never. So close enough to never. And one of the most interesting things is you have this planet called Saturn, the one with the rings around it. It's very pretty, right? Yeah, those rings are cool. And there's lots of speculation about how the rings were formed and blah, blah, blah. And we don't care about how they're formed, really. We like to talk about why they're there. One of the reasons that you have those rings around the planet Saturn is to remind you that not everything is as it seems. In the sense that when you look out into the night sky and you see all kinds of little blinky white things and you think, oh yeah, that's cool, look at, they all look pretty much the same from here. Every once in a while one will kind of look a little different color, but pretty much you look out there and there's a whole bunch of white ones. And then you get out there and you get somebody with a big old telescope and you go, look at that one. That one's so big and it's so different and it has all those rings going round and round and round. Now, here's something we never told nobody. You ready?
Yes.
Part of the way you express as a soul when you're not busy being human, you know, you only use a little bit of your soul to be human, so you got all kinds of extra energy to do other things. You guys like to ride around in the rings of Saturn. You experience yourself cruising around. Now your body's kind of, from your eyes, you kind of see your body looking like a rock or a piece of little shape or something. Don't care about that. Don't think about it with your human eyes, because that just makes it boring. One of the things you do is you hang out in the rings of Saturn, and part of the way you express yourself when you express this idea of free will or express this idea of exploring yourself, it's not so much free will the way you have free will in humanity, because in humanity you have free will because you're in density and duality. But in the experience of yourself in Saturn, you have a sense of freedom and of longevity. There isn't the idea that you live 100 years and die. There's an idea that you express through the millennia. You express through the millennia. And you know, bash and crash into each other and you roll around and you spend time going around and around and expressing. Just expressing. You guys talk about this word emanating. You just emanate without any... without an experience of conflict, because you know that's duality, without an experience of confusion or amnesia. You know the truth of you as you express yourself. Expressing. I mean, it's such a hard thing to put into words that makes sense when you're in duality. But there's a sense of, if you knew the truth of you without question, the complete truth of you, the soul's version truth of you, not the amnesia version that you guys have when you're here. And you were given a physical form to conduct that emanation through. And thrown out into the rings of Saturn because it's a pretty place to hang out. And you just emanated. That's all you do is emanate. It's like a musical instrument that sounded a note that never ends. And the purity of that emanation is shared. So you make like an orchestra that never ends. And it's not an orchestra that, you know, dum da dum dum, that kind. It's more of what you maybe hear when you do an om. But it is certainly not limited to that narrow of a sonic range. And it's the sound of the soul singing, we'll call it. And you do it in the rings of Saturn. You have other experiences too, but this is just the one we decided to tell you about tonight. You sing the song of your soul while spinning in Saturn. And it was specifically set there so that the sound of your soul singing would be constantly emanated in your free will zone. So that you would constantly have the sonic reminder even though you don't experience it consciously. Now, this is kind of just like a reminder. What's a good example? You know, like if you went away to college, you might bring a plant that you used to have at your house, or you bring photographs of your family, or maybe you bring your sheets or pillowcase that you had at your house, right? You want something to bring along that reminds you. Energetically, this song of your soul is offering to you that reminder. And it's time for you guys to be aware of this intellectually, and perhaps to be able to just open to, I want the song of my soul to be more consciously experienced by my current incarnation. And then don't have preconceived notions. Allow uncertainty to rule. But knowing that you're broadcasting, all of you are broadcasting the song of your soul, unstopping, and you have been doing it for a very long time, and you'll continue to do it because it takes a small little speck of your soul to do it. But you're broadcasting the song of your soul. And you're broadcasting the song of your soul not just back here to earth, but out into the universe. What you're saying as a collective is, here's the song of our soul and the experience we're having out here in the solar system that includes earth and free will and density and duality. We're broadcasting the songs of our soul as an orchestra or a choir, let's use choir, as a choir of consciousness, a choir of choice to grow, because that's what coming to earth is a choice to grow. So the choir of consciousness, singing the song of your soul and emanating the choice to grow and telling the universe, over here in this little corner, this is what we're doing. So your soul's out there as kind of a beacon of saying, this is what we do here. So, there you go.
Very cool.
Yeah? Yeah, see? Told you. We may not know about sweat, but we know about the song of the soul and Saturn. Yeah. Okie dokie.
Thank you.
Someday maybe we'll tell you about Jupiter.